Welcome back to Travels with Alicia. In this episode, I will talk about San Diego, California. So San Diego is in Southern California, and it has a very mild climate with consistent temperatures all year long. So in the winter, it's around the 60s, and in the summer and spring, it's in the 70s. So you can see it's never very hot and never very cold, and it's just a really pleasant temperature to sightsee and visit a city. San Diego is about 340 square miles. It's a very spread out city, and it has a large coastline, it has canyons and hills, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's the avocado capital of the United States, and there's over 7,000 avocado farms. They even have an avocado festival every year. So in 2026, that festival is on April 19th, and you'll find tons of themed food and crafts, and it attracts over 100,000 people, so it's actually a pretty big festival. As in other cities in California, San Diego just attracts so many celebrities and famous people. I'll just mention a few that live there. Alicia Keys, Jason Mraz, Bill Gates, Cameron Diaz, and Deepak Chopra. So all different types of people, from actresses to musicians, spiritual leaders, and CEOs of companies. So my daughter and I spent 4 nights in San Diego between Christmas and New Year's. And this year, she actually for Christmas wanted to go on a trip with me. And she wanted to do it during the holidays. So we kind of struggled for a bit because I did not want to go anywhere that was going to be very cold. And so she's the one that came up with San Diego, and it worked perfectly. Neither of us had been there. It is not a difficult trip, even from the East Coast in the United States. Now, if you plan further in advance, you can find nonstop flights at very good prices from the East Coast, but we kind of planned it last minute, and it was a little bit of an expensive time to fly over the holidays, so we ended up having to book a connection. But even so, from Philadelphia, we left about 7 in the morning, had a very short connection, and with a time change, we landed around noon. So it was perfect. We only had carry-ons, and we were out of the airport and in an Uber to our hotel. And in 15 minutes, we arrived at our hotel. So I can't tell you how simple that was. We stayed at the Dextro Hotel in Little Italy. The rooms were new and modern, and it's only 2 blocks to India Street. And that's where all the restaurants are. So it was a great choice for us. The other popular area to stay in is the Gaslamp Quarter. And I had heard about that before. And we did actually go there for dinner one night. But it felt very big city and had like steakhouses and like large bars. This is where all the convention goers stay. I actually didn't like it that much. And I was really happy that we were in Little Italy. It was kind of empty because there's really no conventions going on over the holidays. I want to point out a secret gem that we found in Little Italy. It was called Morning Glory. This tip we received from a local. It was on the main street, and it was a brunch spot. It was on the second floor of a building, so we wouldn't have seen it walking around. It was absolutely gorgeous. We went to Morning Glory twice in the time we were there. It was 100% worth it, and if you're there, please check that out. So let's get into all the great things to do while you're in San Diego. Starting with number 1, Coronado Island. So we loved it. We actually visited this island twice during our 4-day stay, once at night and once during the day. This island is accessible by a bridge or a ferry. It's a very laid-back kind of resort island. It has wide sandy beaches and the most famous historic Hotel del Coronado. It's family-friendly and perfect for just exploring by foot, or you can even rent bikes. So we took the ferry, and it was very easy from where we were in Little Italy. It was just like 2 or 3 blocks down to the waterfront. And down there, you can buy tickets. And you can buy tickets for the ferry, or even just there's a lot of boat tours in that area. But the ferry was only $9 each way per person to get to the island. And it left like every hour, so it was very convenient. We went there on our first night in San Diego, and we did not know what to expect. When we landed, there was a small area around the dock with restaurants and a beach. But we wanted to see the Hotel del Coronado. And so it's a walk. You have to walk to the other side of the island. And there was a main road lined with palm trees. It was about 1.5 miles, but the closer you got to the hotel, the more restaurants and shops and everything. And because we were there during the holidays, everything was decorated, and it was so wonderful to do the walk. But on the way back, you don't have to walk both ways. On the way back, we just got an Uber from the hotel, and it took us over the bridge, and we went home that way to our hotel. But let me tell you, this hotel is breathtaking. It opened in 1888, and it's a Victorian wooden beachfront resort. And it has red turrets, and that's like it has little towers, and the tops of the towers are red. It's the second largest wooden structure in the United States. It was originally built as a fishing and hunting resort. And you would be able to go out, and the chefs would cook whatever you caught. This hotel had countless celebrities and dignitaries. This is where Liberace was discovered. Also, Lucille Ball, Marilyn Monroe, all of the famous people in the day would stay at this hotel. So when we were there, it was just so beautifully decorated. And let me tell you, it was very, very busy. Outside, there was a big skating rink. There were igloos on the beach with fire pits. And the pools were lit up and people were swimming at night. They have many restaurants. There was even a Nobu, which is a high-end sushi restaurant there. And it was quite the place to be. And I would recommend definitely going if you're there anytime over the Christmas holiday. But it was nice to go back in the day as well because we could see the beach better. And the hotel was not near as busy, so we could walk around and visit all the shops that were in the hotel. I will say this hotel is extremely expensive. I think when I looked, it was like $1,200 a night to stay there during the holidays. And it was so crowded that I think if I ever wanted to stay there, I don't know if the holidays would have been the right time to do it. But definitely visit the Hotel del Coronado on Coronado Island. The second thing to do is go to La Jolla. It is beautiful and picturesque. It's a little town, and it took us about maybe 10 minutes or 15 minutes in an Uber to get there from Little Italy. It was beautiful beaches, high-end boutiques. It was really nice. We took an Uber and got dropped off at Cody's, which was another brunch place that was recommended to us. And we loved it. So that would be, that was a good place to tell the Uber to drop us off. And then we walked down to the water, and that's where you could see the seals. So that's what La Jolla is known for. It has these beautiful coves and beaches and rocks, and the seals are all over. You can see them in the ocean, and they jump up on the rocks, and there's coves where they're all lying out on the beach, and it was gorgeous. And there was a beautiful walk along the water, which we did as well. And after we did that, we went into the town of La Jolla, and that also had just great shopping and a really interesting bookstore. It was called Warwick's, and it was the oldest family-owned and operating bookstore in the whole United States. It's very large, but it feels like a boutique with collection of books and gifts, and I highly recommend Warwick's if you're there. So the third thing I would recommend in San Diego is Balboa Park. And this is a huge park. It's actually the largest urban park in the United States. It's much bigger than like Central Park, for example. It's home to 17 museums, theaters, there's gardens, and even the famous San Diego Zoo is actually in Balboa Park. We went there, we walked around a portion of the park, and it was absolutely beautiful. We visited the cactus garden, and it was so impressive. There were several nice restaurants. There is one called the Prado at Balboa Park, and it's upscale. It has kind of California fusion food. But we ate at a restaurant called Panama 66. And that was located right in the San Diego Museum of Art. It's in their sculpture garden outside. So we didn't actually visit any of the 17 museums. We just kind of were trying to take in the park. Next time if I go, I would definitely go to at least a few of the museums. But we enjoyed the atmosphere and we got to see the sculpture garden. And it really was a really nice restaurant. So Panama 66. They also have a very nice tea pavilion, and that is found in the Japanese Friendship Garden. So these were the more high-end restaurants. They also have, they have snack bars and things like that you can find within the park. I highly recommend to go to Balboa Park. So while we didn't go to any of the museums, we did do the number 4 thing that I want to recommend is that we went to the San Diego Zoo. And this is one of the most famous zoos in the whole world. And it, like I said, it's located in the park. And what makes it so special is that they have over 3,500 rare and endangered animals. They also have a major botanical garden. And the zoo is based by habitats. So they have an area for the giant pandas. And pandas are very rare in the United States. This is one of the only 2 zoos right now in the United States have pandas. And it's here in San Diego and in Washington, D.C. So there were only 2 pandas there, but we were able to see them. They were cute. I will tell you, I was told that there can get very long lines to get in there. So try to do it very early or very late in the day. The zoo also has an area called the Lost Forest where you can see gorillas and tigers. They have an elephant odyssey where they have all the large mammals, and it's set up so it looks kind of like a reserve. There's something called the Tiger Trail where it's like an Asian rainforest where you can spot tigers and they have bamboo groves. So you can see this is a beautifully designed zoo, and I highly recommend getting there. One thing we didn't do, but if you have more time, there is something called the Safari Extension. And so if you buy a ticket to the zoo, you can also buy it for the safari. But that's 40 minutes away by car. So we did not do that, but I've been told it's unbelievable. And it's even getting bigger in 2026. So keep that, in your planning if you want to do both. So number 5, and this, at first, we didn't think we were going to do this. This is the USS Midway. This is located at the waterfront. Again, that's a 10-minute walk from our hotel. This is an interactive museum, and it's on a retired aircraft carrier. It is so big, and it's consistently rated as one of the top attractions in San Diego. I think the top attractions are the USS Midway and the San Diego Zoo. So this aircraft carrier was commissioned in 1945, and it served for 47 years through the Cold War, Vietnam War, and Operation Desert Storm. And it became a museum in 2004. Like I said, we almost didn't go, but then when we saw it walking by, it was so impressive. There are full-size helicopters and many fighter jets. They're just sitting on the decks of this giant ship, and you can see all of them. So what we did is we got up and we decided to get there when it opened. We actually got there 15 minutes before it opened. And let me tell you, they didn't make us wait in line. They actually let us in early. So that's a tip. I can't guarantee they'll always do that, but I would say get there before it opens and you might get lucky like us. One thing that was really special, and I know this can't go on forever, but the volunteers that, told us about the ship and some of the sections that you needed a volunteer to take you into, these were all men that actually worked on this ship during one of those wars. So hearing their stories was, really impactful. So if you get there, I think that'll be very, very memorable. So the 6th thing I want to tell you about in the last major area is go to the Old Town. So this area, there is a historic park, and it preserves the birthplace of California. And it was actually the first Spanish settlement in 1769. And so this area is highlighting life between the 1820s to the 1870s. They have adobe buildings, and it's a mix of Spanish, Mexican, and American influence. It's a really big area with so many restaurants, shops. They even have ghost tours in this area. I was surprised at how big this area was, and it had so much atmosphere. There was live music in the town square, and locals were dancing. I highly recommend eating while you're in this area. We ate at Cafe Guadalajara, and it was so good with huge portions. There are several large restaurants, and when we were there, every single one of them was packed. We also went to a Mexican store that had so many beautiful things, from clothes to jewelry, home decorations, books, and it was very high-end and very impressive. So I think that definitely keep this area in mind. It's wonderful in the evenings. So Athena and I had a great time in San Diego. The 4 nights and 5 days was just about right for us, and it was magical between Christmas and New Year's. There was decorations everywhere we went. You could definitely stay a week and fill your time. Plus, we didn't have any downtime, so if you wanted just to relax by the beach, you'd want to add some extra time in. Now, if I had a chance to go back, there's 2 things I would do. One is see some of the street art. There's a place called the Chicano Park Murals, and this is the largest collection of outdoor murals in the United States. And it's painted on concrete pillars that support the Coronado Bay Bridge. And there's nearly 80 artworks depicted. And they kind of show pre-Columbian history, Mexican culture, and the civil rights struggles. So if you get to do that, that would be exciting, and I hope to do that next time. The other thing that I would do that we didn't get to is I would want to go to Catalina Island. Now, this is not actually in San Diego. It's off San Diego, and it's quite a journey. The closest ferry is about 70 miles north of San Diego, and then you take a 1-hour ferry over. But it looks so beautiful in the pictures and everything I've heard about it. It's about 22 miles off the coast, and it's like a Mediterranean-style island with beaches and hills, and it's car-free. So it's a very laid-back atmosphere. If you're there more than a couple days, you could work that into your trip. I hope you enjoyed my insights to San Diego. I would love to go back someday. Thank you so much for listening. Stay tuned for the next episode of Travels with Alicia.